Hi, Evan here, and welcome to the first ever video on my @Cheltenham Time YouTube channel. The plan was always to have a YouTube channel, set up a YouTube channel, but the plan was to set that up at the back end of 2023 as we approach the 24 festival. But I've been getting a lot of traction and good feedback on my Twitter lately, @Cheltenham Time. So I thought, it's currently the 19th of January. We've got 7 weeks until the festival. I thought, why not start now? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a video. So that'll be 8 videos, 1 a week, including this one, as we approach the festival with an Ante Post Selection, a tip for a certain race, and my thoughts on that horse, the current field, and what I'm thinking about that race. If you've seen Ginger Joe's latest compilation video, my first tip is going to come as no surprise. A horse that I've talked about a lot on my Twitter, on different videos. But my first selection is Queen's Gamble in the Champion Bumper, the final race on day 2, and is a horse I really like. Now, Chapeau de Soleil currently heads this market at a price of 11-2 on Sky Bet, and I cannot get my head around how short that price is. We've seen him run once and came second behind Better Days Ahead. Yes, Chapeau de Soleil was finishing that race nicely, strongly. Patrick Mullins said he was hanging most of the way round. I think that was quite visible to see. But I wouldn't say the finish was massively impressive. Jamie Codd on Better Days Ahead appeared to stop riding when he knew he had the race wrapped up. There must be some seriously good vibes coming out of that camp for this price to shorten down to 11-2. But for me, I haven't seen it at the moment, and honestly, I would rather be on Better Days Ahead, who beat Chapeau de Soleil in Chapeau de Soleil's debut. So, interesting favourite, but I want to take on the favourite with Queen's Gamble, as I've said. I'll come on to Queen's Gamble in a second. Another horse at the top of the market who I think is very interesting, potentially very good, is Facile Mode, who on debut came out and won very impressively in what was probably the hottest bumper form so far that we've seen this season. Up against some good horses, albeit receiving weight, won very nicely in the end. There's been a lot of talk about this horse potentially being bought and moving stables this year. Hasn't happened yet. Could well happen as we approach the Dublin Racing Festival, who knows? But this horse is, very interesting. We'll see what happens there. I've touched on Better Days Ahead, who was disappointing on his debut and then came out and won on his second start quite nicely. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes in this race. Some other horses at bigger prices. Encanto Bruno looks interesting at 16-1. Won all 3 starts so far. Most recent start beat Gentle Slopes, who then came out and won nicely at Cheltenham. Been disappointing on those next 2 starts after that, so who knows what form that is. A horse that I like is Factophile, currently at a price of 20-1. Factophile won on debut in a 2-mile 4 bumper and looked to need all 2-mile 4 of that because seemed to be doing his best work, to be honest, at the end. If I remember rightly, he was headed and then battled well to come back and win the race, but I worry dropping down to 2 miles how he will go. Does he have the speed for a race like this? Who knows? I genuinely expected him to, after that race, move up to hurdles. Had a little bet myself on the Ballymore. But looks like, as we're going into the Dublin Racing Festival and he's got an entry for that, looks like he's going to stay in bumpers and therefore will most likely go to the Champion Bumper. So, interesting one there. Another horse I like, who I spoke about quite a lot on his first run on my Twitter, was Will Mount. A horse who I was very excited to see because he was a very expensive purchase. I think around the 350,000, 375,000 mark. He came out on debut at a price of 3-1 and absolutely stormed it. Won by as much as he wanted. Again, who knows what the form of that race is, but did everything that he could do. So 1 run under his belt, looks very interesting. I don't know if he'll run in the lead up to the festival. I don't think he's got any entries. Who knows what that horse could be. Potentially very impressive. But Queen's Gamble is the one that I'm on, and that I believe has the best chance of winning this race on what we've seen so far. Currently priced at 8-1 with Sky Bet. She's run twice, both at Cheltenham. Coincidentally, both in fields of 16, so against 15 horses. On debut, she won very comfortably. Second, third, fourth and fifth horses from that race all then went over hurdles at the back end of last year and won. So the form of that race looks very good. The second race, again, was against 15 rivals at Cheltenham, and she won very nicely. When Johnny Burke pressed the button and asked the horse to quicken away, she did. So she's got the Cheltenham course form, which is important. She will be getting the mare's allowance. She looks to be a very good horse, and in a year where Gordon Elliott and Willie Mullins don't appear to have superstars that they've had in previous years, like Facile Vega, like Sir Gerhardt, I think she's got a great chance. So I think 8-1 is fair value. I've banged on about it enough on Twitter and in my blogs, etc., etc. I'm currently sat on a 50-1 Ante Post slip that I put on before her second run at Cheltenham, so I'm very excited about her. But this tip or Ante Post Selection comes from, my head rather than my heart, rather than wanting her to win, because I genuinely believe she's got a great chance. I believe the form of those 2 runs is very good, and I believe it's a year where potentially there's not anything else around her. I do always think the champion bumper is a tough race to call, because we're talking about young horses who haven't had many runs, who obviously have been only in bumpers so far. But I think that uncertainty, if you want to call it that, is what allows us to generate a lot of value and give us that good value price on a horse like Queen's Gamble. If one of these horses, or if we knew more about all of these horses, there might be one that stands out a lot more and therefore is at the head of the market at a lot shorter price and the market tightens up. But because we don't know too much about these horses, that allows us the 8-1s, the 9-1s on the horses that I like Queen's Gamble, like Facile Mode, like Better Days Ahead. And who knows, Chapeau du Soleil might come out and absolutely run away with it and be the beast that the stable thinks he is. But at present, I don't think so. So I'm going Queen's Gamble for the race as my number 1 Ante Post selection. If you gave me a few more free bets at this race, I'd probably go Facile Mode and Better Days Ahead. But Queen's Gamble for me is the one that I am selecting. So that's it. Queen's Gamble is my Ante Post selection, number 1 at 8-1 for the champion bumper. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do like this video. Give me a follow on Twitter at Cheltenham Time, and I'll be back soon with my second Ante Post selection for the festival.